Motherhood is challenging and rewarding, and it's time we discuss the truth about motherhood, our own feelings and desires, why we mom shame, and how we can start standing together. Motherhood is a lifetime of different phases, all while we are expected to manage the weight of life. It's time for us moms to not only help each other by giving a hand, but push each other to explore ourselves on our deepest levels. Welcome to the Mom Still Standing podcast. I'm your mom friend and host, Danielle Lewis. Each week, we will chat with a beautiful mom who is navigating motherhood and life in a special way. My goal, moms, is for us to understand we are more alike than we are different and that we shouldn't mom alone. So join us as we celebrate and honor motherhood. Now go grab your favorite beverage and let's dive in. Hello, everyone. How are my mom friends doing today? Welcome to the Mom Still Standing podcast. This is where we will discuss the truth about motherhood through the lens of a different mom each week. And today I am so blessed to have my soul sister, Jennifer Green, with me. Welcome to the podcast, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, my soul sister, Danielle. It's my pleasure to be with you, and I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the whole soul sister thing because where do you live? Let's tell our audience where you live.
I live far from you. I am in Ottawa, Canada, and we have very cold winters here, nothing like what you guys have. So you're very lucky. I'm super jealous.
And we had the pleasure of meeting online on Fiverr. I don't even remember how many years ago. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
A good 3 years, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So time's long. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that just goes to show you that, distance does not dictate friendship because obviously, we're still friends, and it just kind of just blossomed just out of you doing some writing work for me, and we just connected on a soul level, and you started calling me your soul sister.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are definitely soul sisters, connected somehow through invisible lines.
Yes. And I'm grateful to be connected with you. So let's start by you telling the audience a little bit about who Jennifer Green is, and if you have children, your status, all of that good stuff.
Okay. So I am a woman in my late 40s, and I'm divorced. I was married for roughly 17 years and known my ex-husband for 20. And then I had 2 boys from the marriage, and they are now teenagers, amazing teenage boys, actually. So I'm very, very grateful and blessed to have such great kids. And I work in healthcare. And I also love to write, as you mentioned. So that's one of the things I love to do when it's my downtime. And I also like salsa dancing when I want to be more uptime.
Oh, yeah.
So that's fun. But that's like me in a nutshell, I guess, at this point.
Okay. And how old are your boys?
One is 15 and the other one is 18.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then your one son is now in college, so he's living outside the home. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. So he lives near Montreal, and so he moved last year, and that was a bit strange having him not around all the time, but he came back quite often, and then we saw him going there. So it just left me with one child, but I do have a shared custody. So 1 week I'm by myself, and then I have 1 week when I'm with either one kid or 2 kids, depending on the time of year. And in the summer, the older one did come back, so it was good to have him back for a few months. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Kind of the same situation that I had as well. So you were married for 17 years. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time. And so, unfortunately, your marriage ended. Well, you know what? I scratched that. I don't know if it's unfortunate because we're going to get into some things that, you've mentioned, in your book and your blogs, but your marriage ended. And so tell us a little bit about, your marriage and how it just got to the point where it just fell apart and it led to divorce.
Well, there was a lot of, I felt very alone in the marriage, even though I was with somebody. And like I said, in the book that I wrote, that is probably one of the worst feelings. I know a lot of women can connect with that, and it's when you feel alone, but you're actually with somebody. And sometimes they're not there physically or emotionally or mentally, even intellectually or spiritually. So, depending how many of those things are missing, you do feel very alone. So I think over the time, it just kind of got thinner and thinner, and I became confused and not knowing what I wanted to do. And then there was a moment I was coming back from vacation, and he had told me at the airport, picking me up, that basically everything's over, and he was moving me out. He was changing different things, and it was a total shock. And I was not expecting anything like that.
So you came off vacation. He's picking you up from the airport. You're happy to be back, happy to see your man and your children, and boom, he drops this bomb.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't want to talk about it too much, but I do know that he was also very confused at the time. And I would say some men, they choose to handle situations like that by finding other people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so I ended up having to, there were a whole bunch of things that had happened that went downhill. He basically closed our joint bank account. He took me off the visa. He's changing the locks on the house. He's parked my car in the parking garage at the airport, and I had to drive myself back to a hotel because I could not go back home.
Wow.
And so anyway, I didn't even know what to think, do, or react. Like, looking back, I should have just gone home.
Right. That was that was devastating.
Yeah. It really, really was. And, the next day there were all these appointments he had lined up with the bank, and going to see a new house, a new place for me to live. And it was just, he totally went crazy. I just don't think he knew how to deal with me being confused about everything. But it was really shocking.
So I know one of the things that you had mentioned to me in a prior conversation is that as a wife and as a mom in your marriage is that you did not take care of yourself. And it wasn't until you started going through the separation process and divorce process that you realized that you hadn't been taking care of yourself, and you became to learn how important self-care was. So why do you think in your marriage you weren't taking care of yourself? I mean, was your focus just your husband and your boys?
Yeah, exactly. So my focus was my husband and my boys all the time. It was me last almost every single day. I knew I had like a list of things I had to get done every day and make sure everything is done. But also I was alone a lot, because not just emotionally or mentally, but physically, because he worked a lot, and he was traveling as well, because and at that time the kids were, from the time they were born up until it all happened, the kids were young. We're talking almost 5 years ago now. So they needed my care all the time. And so for me to be able to take a class or to go and do something, or to even take time just for me and not be so exhausted at the end of every single day, I felt like it was almost impossible. I had to almost wait until he either gets a better schedule or until the kids are older. But that is not a good way to look at it or to live. Like, now I know that. So if there's anything I can say to other women, it's think of a way that you can make yourself happy and do something that's for you. It doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be huge. It can be anything in the self-care realm. And I started to do some exercise classes before the divorce, the separation happened. And that's when I started to realize, wow, this is fun. Like, this is actually good for me. And
right.
I feel better, I sleep better, and I'm going to look better and everything. So, and then it was only a few months after that, then all this happened. And so I kept going to the exercise class. Thank God I had it, because it was almost like a safety net that helped me mentally and emotionally, because exercise, it just burns off all that bad energy.
Right. And releases stress.
Oh, yeah. Like, that was a lifesaver. I really believe it. And so I did that for my self-care, and I was writing a lot, and I traveled. That is an amazing way to heal yourself. And again, it doesn't need to be anything wild and crazy. It can be just a change of scenery,
right,
and one day or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. In my case, at that time, I went to India, and that's a whole other story.
Yes.
But it was amazing. And actually, a lot of the people that also write and follow my blog are from India. So I end up meeting people that I've connected with online, kind of like you and I,
right,
when I went there for like a healing experience. And that was great. So I just wanted to start discovering a new life. And it was almost like it was forced on me, because now all I had was me, especially on the weeks when I didn't have my kids. So it was either be extremely lonely or get up and go and do something. So, it wasn't like I handled it perfectly. I was, right, up and down, but I definitely had a good support system, and I had my psychologist. There's no way I would have been able to go through all that by myself. And I highly recommend anyone going through divorce, whether it's amicable or not, there's still a grieving process. And I really think it's a necessary thing to do. You can't do that alone.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so you wrote a book called Winning While Losing, The Upside of Heartbreak. And yes. So what are you sharing in this book?
So in the book, all of this separation and everything happened in 2015. And I've been writing blogs for about 3 years at that point, just on different life topics, kind of in a spiritual way, but also in a bit of a inspirational, motivational area. And so when I wrote the book, I thought maybe I should make it so that I could write what's going on now in 2016, how I'm dealing with divorce, and tying it into a blog that I wrote either recently or in the past. So it's almost like a before and after of that topic of what I'm dealing with. Like, let's say grieving, or let's say self-compassion, let's say like looking inward at yourself and being mindful. So those are a couple of chapters, and it's interesting that I actually wrote blogs about that before all this happened. And then when it all did happen, I wrote even deeper. So then I had the two on each chapter. There's a blog and an in the moment chapter. And then there's bullet points at the end of everything I learned while I was going through that period.
I love that you did that too.
Yeah.
I love that you did that.
It was interesting because when I was with the editor and the publisher and everybody, they could see this pattern. I didn't do it initially. I was saying it within the chapter when I wrote it. And they said, keep that, but also just add bullet points at the end, because readers like short and sweet, and just a little highlight summary of all the things you just said, right? So it's easy to remember or easy to visualize. So I said, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. So I started to do that. I was picking out what are the points here? What are the learning aspects in this whole paragraph, let's say? And I just made, a couple of maybe 4 or 5 bullet points at the end, the final, and every chapter has something about it.
I know that I had confessed to you that I didn't read your whole book, because when I started reading your book, it was so heartbreaking to just read, and it was just difficult. And I think it was probably even more difficult because of the emotions that I was feeling that I hadn't yet healed from with my own divorce. And I know we had talked, and you pointed out that we as women often don't share the same story, but we often share the same emotion or the same feeling. And so even though that exact thing did not happen to me, we shared the same feeling. And I just thought that was so remarkable, like, wow. And so I couldn't finish it. And, but I've picked it up, and I'll go through and just look at certain parts of it. But that beginning was really, really tough for me. So I just think you've helped me realize that we're more connected and we're more alike than we are different.
Oh, for sure. And that goes for all women. I think we all go through those same emotions, and you're right, Danielle, like, we all have to deal with our stuff, and it's not easy, but, it's like we all have this amazing support system within each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And so one thing that I think is interesting about your story is that the woman that your ex-husband was basically left you for, he is still with that woman. And so your children have grown up, with her, and you have been co-parenting with your ex-husband, with her. And I think we don't talk enough about the challenges that come with that, because you were basically thrown into being a single parent. You did not choose that. It was chosen for you, and you knew nothing about how to be a single parent. And so let's talk a little bit about just your initial single parenting journey, and, what it was like to have to come face to face with this woman at times, and just, the fact that your children were being cared for by her. That's not an easy road to take.
No. So, yeah, and it's not like it happened a few years after the fact. It was all happening at the same time. So it really does feel like a slap in the face. And especially when the kids are okay, they're upset. They're going through trauma as well, just like I was. But then, over time, since she's there, they kind of get used to her. And then it took everything in me not to ask questions and not to say anything bad. And like, just that alone would drain me energy wise. And it's tough. Like, I had been alone all those years, even though I was married, but you're still not completely a single parent quite yet, but you're almost halfway there in my case. But then when you really are, it's very different, like you said. So I would say the weeks I was having the kids, it was tough in the very beginning, because I was going back to the house to be with them. I couldn't even have them where I was living. It was way too small. Everything was arranged prior for me, and it was just a nightmare. So I finally got out of there and got to my own place, which is where I have been ever since. And it's great. I love it here. But yeah, like, I've had to face her, I've had to face him, and there's different, like, he wants me to look after the kids because they go on vacation or like extra time. And
oh, heck no.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I know they're your kids, but I just don't feel, if it's your weekend, why should I have to watch the kids or keep the kids so you can go out with this woman? And this is not any woman. This is the woman that you left me with. So automatically anger and whatever other negative feelings are arising from me. And
Yeah.
if you don't know that it's okay to experience those feelings, it's like all of that gets internalized. So that's more stress and that's more trauma on you.
Yeah.
And it's like that those feelings need some place to go, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so that sucks to have to go through that.
Oh, yeah. And I was going through the whole divorce process all at that same time.
Wow.
So I couldn't even work. So I was working as a nurse back then. I've been a nurse 23 years. And I think I took about 6 months off. I was working 1 day a week. That's all I could handle, stress-wise. And that's not enough, like, to pay the bills, obviously.
Right.
So he was forced to help at that point. And then once everything got settled, I got a better job, and I got myself on track with all this. But as far as me, emotionally, mentally, and all those emotions were eating me alive. I could barely function every day. And so that's when the writing was like the biggest cathartic thing that could help me. And it was like an extra therapy on top of my actual therapy.
Right. One thing I want to point out in your book, at the end, you said, if I had to pick the greatest life lesson I learned overall, it would be this: if you lose someone but find yourself, you win. And exactly. I just was like, wow, so a certain amount of healing had to have already happened within you to be able to recognize that, you know? And then under that, you said, under the what I learned section, you said, in order to see the light and come out clean, you have to live in the dark through the messy, challenging times. So many silver linings emerged for me. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like your writing was a part of your healing as well.
Oh, yeah. And it's interesting because I had never dreamed about writing a book. So it was only when I had gone to India and I was talking to somebody there who was also blogging like myself. And he said to me, you know what, you should write a book. This is going to inspire people, and you should tell your story, because there's got to be other women that are having trouble dealing with everything, and you're handling stuff, and you're still here, and you can talk about it. But don't think about it in a money way, and don't think about it for that you're going to save the world. Just do it for you. And if it helps one person, then be grateful. And I just went home and I had no idea where to even begin to write a book. Do I get a publisher? Do I self-publish? And what does that even mean? I have no idea. And so because I wasn't working so much, thank God I could live off what I had during that time to heal myself. And so I think that grieving process, because I had the time to go through it, really helped. And the writing really helped. I could try to look inside myself. And I was trying to describe emotions. And the more I would describe them, the more people would connect with it. So I really found that interesting as well, because emotional writing is something we can all say, oh yeah, I felt like that one time, but maybe the situation's different, like you said.
Right.
And
So I guess throughout that process, which you said you were learning the importance of self-care and what that looked like. So let's talk a little bit about self-care versus self-love, because we hear a lot about both of them, but they're not the same. So how would you describe both of them? And which, if you would say, which one comes first?
I would say that self-love is accepting yourself, imperfections and all. It's almost like an unconditional love for you, from you. No matter what you weigh, no matter what you look like, no matter how you talk or how you walk or whatever it is, you are going to just love every single bit of it and accept yourself the way you are. And Yes, we're all imperfect. Nobody's perfect. So there's no point even trying to be perfect because it doesn't exist. Self-care is having the awareness to know you're worthy, that you deserve to take care of yourself, and you are also worthy of love and belonging. And that's also tied in with self-love too. So the more you take care of yourself, the more you love yourself. So almost like the more you take care of your kids, the more you love your kids. So it's almost being a bit of self-compassion at the same time, treating yourself the way you would treat other people. I was not even doing that in the marriage. I was putting myself last, like I didn't even matter, or like invisible. But if a friend was suffering, I was there in 2 seconds.
Why do you think that is? Why do women do that?
Women are natural givers. And then my profession being a nurse, I'm a caretaker. I'm a helper.
Right.
And then you got, all these other factors. Maybe there's people pleasing, there's attention seeking, there's neediness. I think we can all admit we've had those moments in our lives.
Absolutely.
Like, we're not perfect. And so you start thinking, well, I need to take care of myself, and I know I'm important. I count too. And when you're self-compassionate, you treat yourself like you would treat a friend that's suffering. You can say to yourself, it's okay. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. And it's more common than you think. We're all in a common humanity out there. And if you're feeling a negative emotion, then that's fine. That's also human, and it'll pass. And then that's it. You're being self-compassion. And then you are loving yourself for doing that. And then you take care of yourself. So maybe you say, I'm just going to take a bath and go to bed early. That is self-care. And you're doing it because you love yourself. If you didn't love yourself, you might go and take drugs or alcohol and just say, oh, that's how I'm going to deal with it. And then you go and destroy your body. That's not self-love or self-care. That's the opposite.
Yeah, I felt like my self-care led to my self-love. I felt like once I started learning how to take care of myself, then I started to love myself. Like, oh, I really like this. Like, this is important. So maybe I should start taking walks every day in the park, because that's what I enjoy doing. Because once I did that, then it was like I was able to release some things into the universe. I was able to be one with nature. I was able to pray. I was just able to be. And it allowed me to see that, oh, this is okay. This is what I like. And I should honor that, because that's what I like. It's a way of me getting to know myself, because I feel like through my process of separation and divorce, I've gotten to know me. And I didn't know who I was before. It was like you said, you're engrossed in, your relationship and your children and just living life. And so this process for me has been an evolution. It's just been a transformation. But I feel like my self-care led to my self-love.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And isn't it amazing when you go out and walk in a park or anywhere in nature, how relaxed you feel after, and
oh my gosh, yes,
how good it feels. It is true. And I do the same thing. Sometimes a whole bunch of days go by because I'm running around with my work. And then I think, oh my goodness, I better get outside and go for a walk. And I think, wow, I should be doing this every day.
Yes. It's like we should be doing this more often, and we don't. And it's a part of just also self-actualization, just realizing what you need and being intentional about getting what you need for yourself. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, as you mentioned, you have a blog, and your blog is called Dare to Live Courageously. And your most recent blog here at the beginning of September was titled A Letter to Pain. And it really got me thinking, what prompted you to write this, especially at this point in your life? Because you basically just wrote a letter to your pain. And I was like, I wonder why Jen is writing this right now.
Well, I think it's just because I feel like I've come a long way. And I would also like to say at this point in time, my ex and I are at a good civil talking. We get along fine. We've come past all the mess, and I feel like this is maybe one way to kind of. I feel like every blog I write when it comes to emotion, or like after I wrote that, I feel like, okay, one last thing to let go of. I feel better now, and I feel more healed. So it's still healing process for me, even 5 years later. It's better than it was. But I think writing letters is so powerful. And this is my third letter I've written. The first one was a letter to my younger 21-year-old self, which is the first chapter in the book. What advice would I give my 21-year-old self? And then I wrote one to my future self, and that will be interesting to read in a couple of years. If anything came true. But I also did this one to pain, because we all experience pain, men, women, kids, and pain is inconvenient. And it happens in not just relationships, but in work and in family and friends and everything. And even between ourselves, you know. And we're going to keep repeating the same pattern if we don't recognize what it's trying to teach us. And so I went through tons of pain, and I still do go through it, but not as much. So I thought, why not talk to pain like it's a person?
Yeah, because you said, pain, I can't carry you around on my back anymore. You are too heavy and dark for me. Not only do I need light, but I also need to feel light. So it was like, oh no, you were talking to your pain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you can write a letter to any emotion. Like, write a letter to anger. What do you want to say to that? What do you wish? What did you learn about it yourself when it comes to anger? Write to sadness. Like, there's a kid movie. What's it called? And it was such a good movie for all the emotions and how they tie into everything and how we all experience them at one time or another. It was very good. I think it's called Inside Out, and it's so good.
Wow. So I also want to point out this list that you made. It says, here are some examples of what pain brought me on the left, and on the right are some things pain taught me. So the first one is lies. And what lies taught you honesty. Meanness taught you kindness. Selfishness taught you giving. Stealing taught you generosity. Self-righteousness taught you forgiving. Like this, as I was reading that, it was so mind-blowing. Ignoring myself taught me self-care. Emotional symptoms taught me asking for help. Holding on taught me letting go. And the old me taught me the new me. Like, this is so incredibly powerful to just read, because it's making me come face to face with not only some pain points that I'm still dealing with, but what are those pain points here to teach me?
Yeah, and I think that's where it becomes a spiritual experience, is when you can see, what's the silver lining here? What is it trying to teach me? Because as soon as you can do that, you've come to a different level of happiness and peace. And this is what we all want in life, is more peace, more happiness. So obviously forgiveness, it's a process. You don't just wake up one day and say, okay, done. I forgave that person. I can move on. I think it's always going to be something you have to work on. But every little step of the way, you can let go one more little rung on the monkey bars,
Wow. So where can people purchase your book? And also, how can someone follow your blog? Because I feel like there are women that are listening that would really gain a lot of value from not only your writings in your book, but just, your blogs.
Yeah, so thank you, Danielle. So the book is available online at bookstores. So, for example, it is on Amazon.com and on every Amazon around the world, actually. So I'm pretty excited about that. But
Yes.
it's it's also in the States. It's available at Barnes and Noble online as well. And I think Book Depository in the UK, if that's, I believe as well. And in Canada, like chapters.ca and Amazon and stuff like that. So check your online bookstore, the one you normally use, and you can look it up. You can also search by my name, Jennifer Green. And the blog, it's titled Dare to Live Courageously. But the actual link is called www.couragecoach.wordpress.com. And it's just a blog I have on WordPress, and I've had it now for almost 6 years, which has been so much fun. And I've met so many people who have also become my support system, and it's like a little community there. And I've met people all around the world virtually, some in person, the ones in India. But it's just, we're all connected. It's just another way of knowing we're all connected. And like I said, just as you were saying, we don't always have the same story, but we have the same emotion. Well, maybe there's people I follow or people that follow me who don't write anything like what I do. There's people who write food blogs, and there's people that write travel blogs, and they're photographers, and they're a whole bunch of different things, and they're just funny people. And but what we all share is the love of writing, and that we enjoy connecting with each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you all hit up Amazon, search Winning While Losing, The Upside of Heartbreak by Jennifer Green, and get your book. And then you can always check out
the blog.
Dare to Live Courageously, www.couragecoach. Do I have that right? .wordpress.com. Yep.
Yeah, cool. .wordpress.com.
Cool.
Exactly.
So before we go, we cannot end the show without me asking you. So are you dating? What's going on with your life as far as dating?
Yeah, so I started dating about 2 years ago, and so far I'm still single. I don't know if it's just because maybe I'm not ready and the universe is making me wait for some great person, Mr. Amazing. He hasn't shown up yet, but I still go on dates, and I think it's good just to get out and be able to have dinner or go for coffee or have a drink, and just to, again, it forces you to take care of yourself in a way, because you're getting a bit dressed up and you want to look nice and you want to go out, and it's fun meeting nice people. I've met some really great people, and after a while there's just no click, so that's okay, and I'd rather know. And but it's just been a lot of online dating, so it hasn't been anything earth-shattering, but yeah.
No hot dates.
No hot dates. I need a hot date. That would be fun.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just say that dating in your 40s is quite challenging. And I know we have shared stories, and I think it's so interesting that, a lot of what you're going through, in your neck of the woods in Canada is basically what we're going through here in the States. And I have a friend on my job. She's actually from India, and she's like, Danielle, people are the same all over the world. And I don't know why I don't want to embrace that. But, as we have shared dating stories, it's just been like, oh, wow. So this is kind of just universal. And so, we're hopeful, but, our lives are still going on. We're still evolving and enjoying our life and taking care of ourselves, but we're definitely still open, to meeting a nice man and seeing, where the relationship goes. But It's tough out here in these streets and these dating streets for a 40-year-old.
Oh, I know. I think it's partly our age. I've talked to some girlfriends of mine, and we're kind of on the same thinking that if it's a guy who's like our age or maybe just a bit older in the early 50s, they want the 30-year-old.
Right.
I don't know. It's very strange. And we're just kind of getting our feet wet by being independent now.
Right. Yep.
Before we were in the marriage and we had to think about like 3 or 4 people all at the same time. And now it's just on the weeks on my own and like yourself on your own. Right. You just have yourself to worry about. So that's a new world in itself. Mm-hmm. And then going on the online dating is like a completely different world. Because back when I met my ex-husband, there was no online dating. So that's such a new place for me to be in. And I think if you don't know what you want and you just go online dating, you're going to attract all kinds of weird people. But if you have an intention and know what you want, you're going to have quality over quantity. So I've learned that over time. That is something I learned because when I first went out, I had no idea what I was doing. So I speak from experience, and I was getting some pretty weird people. So.
Well, thank you for that tip, though.
Yeah, so I think it's worth it. Like, write it down. What are you looking for? What do you want, or what would you be okay with? Mm-hmm. And it's not like everything is going to have a checkbox beside it, but the more the better, right? Right. And what are the deal breakers? Because I think you should know those too. Mm-hmm. You know, if you don't want somebody who smokes and you've got somebody who's smoking wanting to ask you out, where would you even bother going?
Right. Exactly. Yep. So single moms, know what you want.
I do not have any dating advice. Right? Just know what you want. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
And good luck because it's tough. It is not easy. Yep. It is not easy.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be a little bit discouraging, but I think I'm thankful for, sisterhood and having, really good girlfriends that we can share the single journey with that are encouraging and, just keep us hopeful. So I know I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too.
Well, Jen, this has been a very enlightening show. Thank you so much for joining me and for sharing. And I'm really hopeful that my mom friends have gleaned from your story, from your healing, and your new perspective on life. Like I said, guys, go and get Jennifer's book, Winning While Losing: The Upside of Heartbreak. And also check out her blog so that you can be inspired and work on your pain points and really just evolve as the woman that God has called you to be. So thank you again, Jen.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And I want everyone to please go to Danielle's podcast as well on my side. And I'll be adding your podcast to my blog when I get the next one published.
I so appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, we will see you guys on the next episode of the Mom Still Standing podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye for now.
Thank you, Danielle. Bye-bye.
Thank you, moms, for tuning into this week's episode of the Mom Still Standing podcast. Make sure you head over to iTunes and subscribe. If you found this episode to be informative and encouraging, please write a review so that we can continue to empower moms everywhere. In the meantime, remember, connected moms don't mom alone.